Now, you've come to our office, and Doc, I run 5 miles a day. Healthy or sick? Sick. Well, Doc, I've been doing this elliptical all the time, and I'm in really good shape. Healthy or sick? Sick every single time. Before we do this, we want to get our spine, our bodies in the best possible position that we can get them in. We want to make sure that our body is functioning. What controls our entire body?
Brain.
The brain. How does it get to the rest of the body? Nervous system. You got it. Star pupil here. So what happens is you want to have these 45-degree angles, okay? And from here, all these nerves go to every organ, every tissue, and every cell. This is such a great quote that we say. You can go a month without food. You can go days without water. You can go minutes without air. You can't go 1 second without your nervous system, without it functioning the way that it should, because it controls everything. It controls how those hormones are released. It controls the coordination of you actually doing these physical exercises, and it controls the physiology of how you respond to it following that. So if you've got pressure anywhere on that nervous system, your body will never function to its optimal level. That's why you see every major college and every professional team now has a chiropractor on staff. Why? Because we now know it increases athletic performance. It increases reaction time. It increases your muscle coordination, and all of that is a very big deal when it comes to sports. Well, with us and what we do in our office, we do see a lot of athletes, but for a lot of us, it's life. We want to increase this nervous system function so we have a better, healthier life, okay?
So when we're talking about the nervous system, how our body's supposed to function, obviously we're talking about exercise tonight. And when we were going through there and we talked about, you can go a month, without food, you can go a minute without air. Well, that's what we're talking about tonight, is that oxygen. You can go minutes without that, but you can't go a second without this. And that's why this is so important, because when we start to look at what those little arc of lives are in our nervous system, it's a 45-degree angle. That's what this curve in our neck has to be, and these curves in our back here, they have to be at that 45-degree angle, because if we start to straighten this out and look at that picture over there, that's a phase 1. Is this person healthy or sick? Sick. 10% of the time, 50% of the time, what? 100% of the time. Every single time, this person is not creating health. They're creating disease in their body. And it's not just a theory. This is a fact. Because you can see when you start to look at a chart like this that these nerves go to every single organ in your body. There's not an organ, there's not a cell, there's not a tissue that's not controlled by this nervous system. That's what God put inside of us to create all healing and all function. And if we lose that curve, that arc of life, why do you think it's called the arc of life? Because it gives life. It gives healing and it gives function. When you lose that, the difference between this neck and this neck, from what research has shown, it's 10 years of life. Because those organs will shut down, they'll atrophy, and they'll die. And so when we go from here, on the next slide, what we go to from a phase 1 is to a phase 2. And that's early degeneration. You can see how the discs are starting to compress now. And there's even more pressure on that spinal cord. And so the difference between a phase 1 and a phase 2 is just time, and how quickly that disease and that process will actually happen. And then you go to the late degeneration or a phase 3, and we don't see a lot of those patients because most of them are already dead. But this is the disease process that works through in our body. Once you go from here, you will always go to here unless you do something to correct it. And that's what we're here for, is that corrective care chiropractic, where we can actually take that neck from a phase 2, a phase 1, and get that back to that 45 degrees so that your body's healing and functioning the way that it should.
Great. Nerve supply and blood pressure. This was a research study that was done by the University of Chicago. We see a lot of patients that come through the office that have high blood pressure. These patients were adjusted 1 time a week, and all that was adjusted was the atlas, the first vertebrae. And in 8 weeks, the systolic number, the top number, decreased by 14 points, and the bottom number decreased by 8. Better than any 2 combinations of medication out there. So it's so amazing that the body can do that. Once you start getting this arc of life back here, there's literally a vertebral artery that runs right down here. And when you take the pressure off of that, the blood flows from the brain down to the body and back up that way, and it just keeps working that way without pressure on it. Posture and nerve supply. This is what's so amazing about what we can do now with scoliosis patients that have that S-shaped curve in their spine. In fact, today, I had 3 patients in a row that have pretty severe scoliosis, brand new patients in the office that had no idea that they could be helped through chiropractic. And so this is the amazing part. You can see up here, this is where the spine should be on the left. On the right here, this is where the spine is when you start. It affects everything that happens. So in this area right here, we're affecting abdominal area nervous system supply, so intestines, reproductive organs, kidneys, all of those things that happen. We straighten the spine up and now the nervous system can work the right way and the body can actually heal. On this side over here, we've got a straight neck. Well, we know that that neck has to come back and take pressure off the brainstem, controls hormones in your body, literally controls the thyroid, controls the heart function, controls how the body heals and functions. So if you start off in the office and you're at 5 degrees, and after a certain amount of time you're at 10 degrees, is that a big deal? That is a huge deal. It's amazing the changes we see in patients' bodies, in their spines, with just a couple degrees change. And we're still amazed by it because we actually see literally just that 5 degrees change and their whole life changes in how they feel and how their body functions and heals. Doc, you the last one here?
So basically, we're going to be ending this up before we start to do some actual exercising, which is going to be a whole lot of fun. But really, our question is, how do you know if you're healthy? Can anybody answer me that question? Used to be when you didn't hurt. That's what we hear typically all the time. But how do you really truly measure health?
Feeling good.
If you feel good? Okay, and that's what we hear. But to truly measure your health, what do we have to look at? We have to look at that spine. We have to look at those x-rays to see how your nervous system is truly working. So I ask you guys today, is there anything truly more important than your health? Our office priorities, what we set our lives for, are God, family, and work. And when we put those aside, it is our health. Because without our health, we can't serve our God. We can't provide for our families. And we can't even go to work. And if you don't have that, and the only way to truly tell if you're healthy is to see if you are truly healing. And that's making sure that nervous system's working properly, not just 50% of the time, but 100% of the time, that it is functioning at 100%, and that your body is really, really healing. That's what we want. So, guys, for your health, if you lose it, what do you have? Nothing. Truly, you have nothing. What can you achieve without your health? Nothing. Pretty easy questions, right? What has the best chance? Who has the best chance at a dream retirement? The person that's healthy or the person that's not? Your health truly is an investment. And so when we sit back and we talk to you and you just look through these, who wants to be with their grandkids when you're 75 years old? Everybody in here, right? You want to watch those kids grow up. You want to be there. You want to be able to pick them up, run around with them, not just be sitting in a chair waiting for that next medication or be on oxygen. That's not what we want. And that's why we do these classes, is to bring this forward and to literally open up your eyes.